weird and interesting things when they become unhappy in a relationship. But I want you to be aware of some of those common things that I have seen in my extensive work with working with couples. Welcome back to another episode of Keeping It Real with Keandra. Now, before we get into this list, you already know that some of these may or may not apply to you depending on the phase of or stage of the relationship that you are currently in. And while we're here, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can stay updated on all of the episodes of the Keeping It Real with Keandra show. But let's get into the first one. The first one is that they will ignore or avoid you. And this could essentially mean they stop calling, they stop texting, they stop engaging with you. They may make the communication more spread out. So if they were talking to you, say for instance, every single day, now you don't hear from them at least for a few days. Communication is very short. You know those people that like to respond with like 1 or 2 words? Listen, that is my pet peeve, okay? You cannot have an engaging, healthy relationship and always respond back with just 1 word. For sure, okay? Yeah, that's what's up. Like, you're going to have a conversation. You're going to have to say more than that. How about we work on saying a full sentence? But in all seriousness, this is what they will do. They will start to avoid you. They will start to ignore you. And you will see that the communication that they have with you becomes infrequent and less consistent. Moving on to number 2. The next one is that they become more frugal. So essentially what this means is that they will stop spending money on you or with you. And then the questions start to arise like, why do you need that? Don't you already have something similar like that? I don't really know if we should purchase that. Oh, I don't have the money right now, when you know doggone well they got the money. So this is essentially when they start to pull back from you, as we mentioned in the first one, but now they're pulling back in a different way. They're pulling back with their finances. So if they were someone who always spent money on you, bought you gifts, took you on trips, sent you unexpected things, and money was never an issue before, and now all of a sudden it is, this could be an indicator that they're starting to become unhappy. The third one is that they become passive or they start to pick fights with you. This is when they're starting to become unhappy and they're basically just real nonchalant with it. They're like, I don't care, I'm unbothered, nothing you do or say phases me anymore, and they just have a blah, I don't care mentality. You know that emoji that's like, that's basically them. Another aspect and another part of this is that they will pick a fight for no reason. And so this is just another time where they are picking something that may not even really be a big issue, but what they're doing is they're using that as a tool to continue to stay disengaged, to continue to stay standoffish from you, and continue to put that distance in between you and them because they're just not happy. And again, I just wish the person would say something, but instead of them actually verbalizing, using their communication skills, they actually start doing all of these small things, which makes the relationship so much worse. You're seeing your partners start fights with you for no reason. They're bothered and annoyed by things that they didn't used to be bothered and annoyed by. This is something that you need to check into because they could be moving towards the realm of unhappiness. The next one is that they will stop wanting to go places and do things. Now, let's be clear on this. This doesn't mean they want to stop going places and doing things, period. It just essentially means they want to stop going places and doing things with you. So the things that y'all used to do, the places that y'all used to go to, the people that y'all used to hang out with, those things are far and few in between. And when you start to want to initiate and remember and go out and hang out and have date nights and do all of the things that you used to do, you will find them pulling back. You will find them being like, nah, I don't really want to go. But in all actuality, they do want to go. They just don't want to pull up to that thing with you. And what you'll see is that they still want to do these activities and all of these things, but they tend to do those things with their family members. They tend to do those things with their friends, and they're starting to leave you out of the equation, essentially. And this could be an indicator that they are just not with it and they are showing signs of unhappiness. Oh, and before I move on to the other point, they not only are replacing you with friends and family, they could potentially be replacing you with somebody else, i.e., cheating. And so this is something that you want to be aware of as well, because this can cause a really, really huge issue if they are seeking outside of the relationship, meaning another man or another woman, to fulfill the needs that they think you are no longer fulfilling. The next one is that they make excuses. You know, when you are in that lovey-dovey phase of a relationship, you want to do all the things with your partner and for your partner, but now they making excuses. They like, nah, I don't want to do that. Nah, I can't do that. Nah, I got something else to do. Nah, I gotta pick up my mama's dry cleaning. Nah, I gotta work late. All of these excuses start to pop up, and you're like, yo, you used to do this for me all the time. What is the issue? But the issue is there is a growing level of dissatisfaction in the relationship, and it appears that they don't know how, or they feel like they cannot express that to you. The next one is that they find distractions. I mean, simply put, they are basically finding other things that are more of a priority than you are. I'm talking about you moving further and further and further down the list. You used to be up here, and maybe now you're starting to be down here, and all of these things are starting to be up here. They are no longer prioritizing you. And they're simply just not paying attention any longer. You know, they're not paying attention to detail. They're not paying attention to the shift and the changes of who you are. They're not paying attention to your day and how you feel and what's been going on in your world. They're just not paying attention. They're distracted. And you become lower and lower on the totem pole. Other things become priority. And then you may even look up and find out that you're not on the list at all. And at this point, it's safe to say, start thinking about an alternative decision. And last but not least, number 7, they don't talk about you as much. Now, this can be a little bit tricky because, like I mentioned before, when you're in a new relationship or you're in a good space in your relationship, you want to talk about your boo all the time. To family members, to friends, to coworkers, to strangers, social media, you want to do all of the things. But as you are seeing your partner become dissatisfied in the relationship, they're just not talking about you as much. Not talking about you to their family, not giving their family updates and their friends updates. Nobody is bringing you up as a topic of discussion any longer. And I know that that's a hard pill to swallow, and I know that that probably doesn't feel good, but it's true. You know, when a relationship is going well and people are in a great spot, you tend to want to share those good things. And I know that this can be, a tricky situation, but I want you to remember that this is why it's important to stay locked in and tapped into your partner as much as possible. And so as we wrap up this whole list of some of the things, the weird things that people do when they are starting to become unhappy and dissatisfied in a relationship, I want you to think about everything that we talked about just now, and I want you to think about being the bigger person. If you are seeing one or a few or all of these things within your partner, I don't want you to just keep it on hush-hush mode and not say anything. I don't want you to just turn your back and ignore it. I don't want you to think, oh, this is just a phase, or oh, this is just temporary, or oh, this will get better. No, I need for you to be proactive. I need for you to speak up. I need for you to say, Keandra said, I was watching this video on this whole Keeping It Real with Keandra girl, and she said that if your partner is doing a list of these things, then they may be unhappy in this relationship. And I noticed that you've been doing 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. I'm wondering if you are starting to be unhappy in this relationship. And hopefully your partner is honest enough and truthful enough that they will say, yes, this is the case, or no, this isn't the case, right? And I want to be very clear that just because your partner may be doing 1 or 2 of these things, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're completely dissatisfied. We have to add life into this equation, okay? Like life be lifing, and there might be some other factors, some outside factors that might be contributing to the way that they are acting. So instead of us jumping the gun and accusing and going, I need for you to be wise. I need for you to be gentle. I need for you to be empathetic. I need for you to be curious enough to just have a real genuine conversation with your partner and open that door. Now, if they're truthful and they say, yeah, I haven't been, happy in this relationship for a long time, then we need to explore what our options are. Are we going to stay together? Are we going to work at it? Are we going to go to therapy? What is the thing that we need to shift and change? And how can we implement that? Can we give each other a time frame where we can see that shift to see if there's going to be improvement? There's things that we can do in the meantime. So I don't want you to be discouraged, but I did want to shed some light on these things because I don't want y'all to be staying in the dark. Thank you so much for watching another episode of Keeping It Real with Keandra, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.